Hello, lovely writers. I am Riwo. I am the founder and executive director of the Gals Guide Library. We are the first women's history lending library in the United States. Gals Guide was awarded Organization of the Year by Advancing Noblesville, and we got a congressional recognition for our outstanding and invaluable service to community. We are a super welcoming library with events and podcasts and books written by women and about women. And every fall, we host a 12-week writing workshop. And this year's writing workshop is because of the generous support from the Indiana Arts Commission. The 2024 theme is feminine healing and creativity. We came to this theme because it was brought forward by our patrons, showing us a strong need for female centered events to work on the hard stuff of life. So I will be teaching the Mother Castle method. It combines writing and meditation to heal emotional wounds, to allow creativity to flourish. This is a tool that I have been developing in the library. It utilizes women's history, mythology, Buddhism, meditation, and compassion. And previous students found immense value in this process that allowed them to heal the hard stuff so that they could write. So I'm going to share with you in this video a taste of the 12-week writing program. That way, if you really dig this and you love this information and you just want to be around more of this, you can check out galsguide.org and get more information and also register for the fall workshop that starts in September of 2024. So the Mother Castle method that I've been developing for these last 4 years really came from universal themes that I've been seeing in the library. By listening to patrons of Gals Guide, of seeing what has been naturally arising in them as they lean in and learn about women of history. What has been really exciting with this method is how it has been incorporated into writing. What I've been seeing is some unlocked, deep, and nuanced material that has come through going through this method, this writing process with writers such as yourselves. So it is a tool to unlock creativity as well as to nurture your growth. And we do go through the hard stuff in this workshop. And we do that with a very clear intention. We do it for the benefit of ourselves, for the benefit of our writing, but also to share that wisdom and that writing with all beings everywhere. It starts with us, but the goal is to help others. And that's why many of us become writers in the first place. We have a story that we feel will help other people, and we want to get it out there. The other reason why we do the hard stuff, and I love this metaphor because it's a plant-based one, when you nourish a plant, many of the first things you do before you even put a seed in the ground is that you tend to the soil around it. And this means removing weeds and debris and all those things that can inhibit growth. It also means stirring up the soil and breaking up the crusty bits and aerating and adding new air to the dirt. We also add compost, which is the decayed material so that something else can grow. So these decomposing materials help plants grow, just as the disgusting and ugly and traumatic bits in our own lives have helped us grow. So in this workshop, we're going to remove some weeds, we're going to stir some things up, and we're going to find a way to have our pain be our fuel. And that uncomfortableness and pain, they're part of growing pains. They're part of popping out of the soil, breaking free from that seed and reaching the surface. During the class, I'm going to ask students to observe uncomfortableness and to contemplate on its origin, to ask, is this serving the person that I want to be? And then work on incorporating and acknowledging that into your being. I also teach in a very ancient way. It is sometimes called the 3 levels of a house of a happy person. It is listening, contemplating, and meditating are the 3 levels. And I'll tell you what I mean by those. So in the listening portion, that's either going to be the instructions or the advice or the method itself. It's kind of the what of the class. What is this class teaching me? Then we move into contemplation. And contemplation is important because I don't want you to just listen and take everything in or reject everything. I want you to take the time to ask yourself, how can I incorporate this into my writing life? And I'm going to have writing prompts and questions to help get you there. And then the meditation portion. Whenever we ask our brain to do a lot, whether it's doing a lot of listening and then thinking, it's always good to add relaxing onto that, because we tend to grasp really hardly onto things. And especially as writers, we grasp a lot. We can grasp onto pens and pencils. We can also grasp onto plot lines, character ideas, nuances, structure, all these grasping like things. But when we tend to let go for a minute, to kind of clear the mind and allow for space for new ideas to flourish, or even just to have a break in your day for a little bit, that's when you start to see what can flow naturally, what you've been grasping on, and there's been other ideas over here that can't get into that grasping. But if you let go for just a little bit, those ideas just may come into fruition. So throughout each class, we're going to ebb and flow between listening and contemplating and meditating, and I will guide you all along the way. So that is the reason, and that is also my way of teaching. So let's get into kind of the method itself to give you a little sampling. This method comes in two parts. Part one explains the ingredients that are needed for this method. The second part is the recipe. And that recipe is a guided meditation or a visualization that I lead you through. And you may notice, it's very subtle, I'm using a cooking metaphor here. We have the ingredients that we need to gather, and then we have a recipe that we need to follow. But just like the real magic of making any cooking or baking dish, it's about sharing it with others. It's the end goal. It's about nourishing yourself, sharing it with others, bringing people to the table, if you will. The other reason for the cooking metaphor is because if you've ever followed a recipe and you've been like, man, this needs a little bit more cinnamon, or this needs a little less salt. The idea of a method like this allows you to add your own flavors as well as making it your own, the amount of each ingredient that fits you. So the 4 ingredients that are in the Mother Castle method are mothers, compassion, myths, and women's history. I'm going to break down very subtly and very quickly the 4 ingredients. We go into a lot more depth within the classes as well, but mothers. So His Holiness the Dalai Lama said in 2011, quote, "Human beings first learn about kindness and compassion from their mothers. Warm-heartedness brings a sense of inner peace. It is an antidote to anger, jealousy, and fear." So if you had a fantastic mother who was encouraging and empathetic and gave you an amazing foundation of kindness and compassion, there is still room for more mother figures in your life. Learning from mothers and sharing mother figure wisdom helps human beings learn and share more warm-heartedness and compassion with the world. And if you had a distant or broken or problematic mother, having more mother figures in your life can help you decide what parts of your soul to heal and what parts of you to strengthen for positive change. And if you didn't have a mother figure in your life, my hope is that the Mother Castle method will allow you to start filling that hole, because we are all born of many mothers. The next ingredient is compassion. So compassion allows for us a view of a shared humanity. It takes away this untrue filter of me against you, and it shows this reality that we're all in this together, that we all walk on the same ground, that we are all held by the same ground. And if we're open to the idea of learning from one another, we can take better care of one another. We've always had a culture that very much wants to feel seen by someone. And nowadays with social media and our screens, our brain is saying that we are connected, but our hearts still yearn to give and receive compassion, because that's how we really feel we are seen by someone. An example that has come up in the writing workshop before is we'll have somebody talk about how they posted a thing of their writing and they only got 50 likes. We first unpack the idea of only 50 likes. We understand that. But then what comes from that is asking yourself, if you were walking around your neighborhood and 50 people came up to you in that one day and said, I like that thing you did. If 50 people walked up to you and said that, would that be only 50 likes? Or that number on social media? So, which one do you feel more seen by? Is a question to ask yourself. The next ingredient is myth. Myth is one of my favorite things that I love to talk about. In our cooking metaphor, myth would be the sauce of our recipe. To get Star Wars on it, it's an energy field field created by all living beings. It surrounds us, it penetrates us, it binds the galaxy together. Or to get a little Lion King, everything the light touches is our kingdom. Those are two examples of sauce and myth. So myths have been with us since we started telling each other stories, and we've been telling each other stories much, much longer than we've been writing them down and reading them. Myths are not designed to be a historical narrative. They're designed to be memorable, and they're designed to get you thinking. Myths have four general aspects to them. They're either to teach you something, to explain a mystery of life, to explain a phenomenon of nature, or to describe a custom or religious rite of people. That is the myth. Lastly is women's history. And when it comes to women's history, I again go back to the cooking metaphor because I say women's history and not just history, because it's like saying use real vanilla bean in your recipe and not vanilla extract. And those of you who have used real vanilla bean, or have even priced it or tried to find it, you can see how it's just a little bit more effort. It is harder to find. It is more expensive. But the flavor brings about so much more richness and finishedness to a dish. It just elevates it. And so women's history is like using real vanilla bean instead of using imitation vanilla. And here's the reason why. It enhances the experience of healing. And healing is very important in this process because the healing allows for the creativity to flow more freely. So feminine power, whether it is from mythology or religion or culture, does not operate in a vacuum. Feminine power is shared. Feminine power is told time and time again, not about domination, but about sharing with nature, sharing our bodies to give birth, sharing in trade, sharing knowledge in teaching, sharing innovations, and sharing recipes. We're back to the recipe metaphor again, right? So when information and resources are shared, especially when they're shared with you in a compassionate way, not a competitive way, you're more open to the possibilities of how to incorporate them into your life and into your work. And I commonly say, if she can see it, she can be it. But sometimes it's more if you see a woman doing it, you are empowered to do it. Women's history encourages you to share and to build upon the adventures of life. And that might just come back to the original mother story, if you will. Sometimes for many of us, it's a mother figure that shows us our first actions. How to eat, how to walk, how to talk is commonly shown to us by our mother figures. A lot of times they also show us how to stop crying when we scrape our knee, and that answer is ice cream. It's almost always ice cream. And I also acknowledge that more and more fathers have taken up this role as well, and I don't ever want to discourage fathers from their efforts from shared parenting because it makes everybody on this planet better. But for many of us, we learn our first basic aspects of life because a mother showed us. And this is why when I see women inventing things or leading businesses, it empowers all of us. I think it's because it's in our DNA and this familiarity of following the example of women around us. And if we think of terms of the women that are all around us are our shared mothers, that we can learn from them of what to do, what not to do, what to try, what has been tried, we're all better for it. So those are the ingredients, and how we put them together in a bowl and how we incorporate them into our lives is through the guided meditation, is through the visualization. This is the recipe. This is instead of put it in the oven and baked for 20 minutes until it's golden brown, this is a 20-minute meditation into the Mother Castle. And the Mother Castle is a visualization of a sprawling building rested in the landscape with infinite number of rooms. And each room has a different aspect of healing or creativity. And throughout the castle are women of history ready to help you by showing you how they found wisdom throughout their hurdles in life. So, for example, there's the abandonment room. The abandonment room is a dilapidated warehouse, and it's where Carrie Fisher has taken from the wreckage of her life and made a comedy club. It's also where Miriam Makeba, a singer who was banned from her homeland in South Africa for more than 30 years, is playing her ancestral music to the people. And in this room, you learn how women process abandonment differently. So in this class, we're going into 9 rooms in the Mother Castle. And they are empathy room, vulnerability, problem solving, confidence, union of opposites, it takes a village, evolution, and the hardworking garden. We learn from women of history in each of these rooms, and we put ourselves in these rooms. And then we ask, what other women have we met in our life that we would also find in these rooms? And then we write. We see what happens. We see what can we learn from all of them. So if this sounds like something you'd like to be a part of, check out galsguide.org, click on the Feminine Healing and Creativity Writing Workshop. Classes start September 2024, and I really hope to see you in class. Thank you.